The moment I saw her flashlight beam cutting through the dust of my basement, my heart stopped. Mrs. Davenport, the self-appointed HOA tyrant, was down there. Her manicured fingers wrapped around my 1982 Chatola fight. I had trusted her, opened my home to her for an inspection of my yard, and this is what she did. The betrayal hit me harder than the shock of seeing a thief in my own home. I heard the clink of glass and the soft thump as she set another bottle on the ground, a casual, entitled sigh escaping her lips. It was almost meditative. Did she truly believe she had the right to my things, to my family's legacy? My hand tightened around the heavy, iron key to the cellar door, its cold metal a sudden comfort. "What in the world do you think you're doing, Carol?" I demanded, my voice barely a whisper, yet it echoed like a gunshot in the cavernous space. She spun around, her face a mask of shock that quickly melted into a condescending smirk. "Oh, there you are. I was just reorganizing your collection. You see, the labels are all dusty. I thought I'd help you clean them. This is a very valuable vintage, you know. I'm just making sure it's properly cared for." She gestured with a dismissive wave of her hand, the expensive rings on her fingers glinting in the narrow light. The audacity, the sheer, unmitigated gall. I felt the heat rise in my chest, a fire of pure, righteous fury. She was lying right to my face, and she expected me to believe it. "Cared for, with an open shopping tote at your feet." I shut back, my voice gaining strength. "That's not reorganizing, Carol. That's theft." Her smirk vanished, replaced by a scowl. "I'm a member of the HOA board. I have a right to inspect the premises for violations. Your cellar, it's a fire hazard, and these bottles, they're attracting pests. I was going to dispose of them, for the good of the community." The words tumbled out, desperate and pathetic, and for a moment, I almost felt sorry for her, almost. Then I remembered the dusty labels she had so lovingly cleaned with her bare hands, the glint in her eyes when she'd first seen my collection. This wasn't about the HOA, it was about her own selfish greed. The truth was, she'd been coveting this wine for months, ever since she'd seen me bring a case in. She'd been looking for a chance, and my brief moment of misplaced trust had given it to her. "A fire hazard, you say?" I repeated, my voice now dangerously calm. I took a step forward, the case still in my hand. Her eyes darted to the door behind me, a flicker of panic in their depths. She knew she was caught. She knew there was no way out. "What about the wine is a fire hazard? Carol, is it the grapes, or that oak barrels it was aged in?" My sarcasm was a bitter taste in my mouth. She opened her mouth to retort, but no sound came out. She just stared at me, then at the key, then back at me, her chest heaving with silent, frustrated breaths. The tables had turned, and she was terrified. The predator had become the prey. A small, wicked part of me reveled in it. She had always been so powerful, so sure of herself, so ready to ruin anyone's day with a petty bylaw. But now, she was just a woman, caught in a moment of pure desperation. "You're making a huge mistake," she finally screeched, her voice cracking. "The HOA will hear about this. I will have your membership revoked. I'll have you fined. You'll never live in this neighborhood again." Her threats, once so effective, now sounded hollow and childish. I simply smiled. "I don't think you'll be telling anyone anything, Carol. Not for a while, anyway." And with a firm, deliberate turn of the key, I locked the cellar door. The heavy thud of the bolt sliding into place was the most satisfying sound I'd ever heard. She began to pound on the door, her frantic shouts muffled and distorted. Let me out of here. You can't do this. This is illegal." Her rage was a tidal wave crashing against a stone wall. It was a beautiful sound, the sound of her powerlessness. I walked back up the stairs, the cool air of the house a welcome relief from the stale, dusty air of the cellar. As I reached the top, I saw my two neighbors, Mr. Jenkins and Mrs. Lee, standing in the hallway, their eyes wide with disbelief. They had heard the commotion, the shouts, the thudding. Mr. Jenkins, a quiet retired accountant, was holding a phone. "I was just about to call the police," he stammered. What was all that?" I looked at them, and then I looked at my front door, at the quiet, peaceful street outside, the street that Carol had been terrorizing for years. I sighed, a long, weary sigh, and then I smiled. "I just took out the trash," I said, a hint of something mischievous in my voice. The very entitled, very dusty trash. The look on their faces was priceless. A combination of confusion, awe, and a little bit of fear. I had no doubt the story would be all over the neighborhood by sundown. The question lingered in the air, hanging between us like a cloud of dust. Was what I did right? Was it wrong? What should I have done? The law would have a very clear answer, no doubt. But what about justice? What about karma? What about a person's right to their own peace of mind, to their own home, to their own cellar full of dusty, delicious secrets? I left Mrs. Davenport down there for a few hours, just long enough for her to get to know my wine collection a little better, just long enough for her to sit with her actions and reflect on the sound of silence, just long enough for the HOA to hold their meeting without her presence, for the first time in 10 years. And as the sun began to set, I went back down, unlocked the door, and offered her a glass of water. Her face was ashen, her clothes covered in a fine layer of dust, her ego shattered. "You're not going to get away with this," she whispered, her voice a raspy echo of her former self. I just smiled, a sad, knowing smile, and said, "We'll see, Carol, we'll see." The story ends there, but the real question begins. What do you think? Was my retribution a necessary evil, or a step too far?